All right, firstly, first time on East Asia tonight. Welcome, Liv.
Great to be here.
Right, picking up from what the professor said earlier about the yen being good news to Japanese exports, but bad news to the imports. So how exactly are the exporters responding to the yen's decline?
Well, the short answer to that is not very well, because for exporters, they still need to import, right, to buy the raw materials, which makes up the bulk of it. So it means that weak yen makes importing goods become more expensive. So to stay afloat, these companies will eventually have to pass on the higher costs to consumers, which will mean bad troubles for the Japanese household. So a president of a Japanese chemical manufacturing, Asahi Kasei, said that the company is profiting from the short-term yen weakness, but in the long term, they're worried that the consequence might be very detrimental to the consumers and that will have negative impact on consumption. And this is why falling yen makes traders very nervous. Chris Weston from Pepperstone says that the current levels where the yen is at suggest that the BOJ might have to act very soon or risk facing a credibility crisis. Vishnu Varatan from Mizuho said that investors are super sensitive to rate changes, anything yen related, and also risk of intervention by the BOJ. Speaking of intervention, BOJ was suspected of having taken action today because the yen rebounded very quickly, and it's the first time in 18 months that we saw a heavy dollar selling by Japanese banks.
That's right. We're hearing about all these suspicions again about the BOJ. So even with the historic exit from negative interest rates in March, even with the first ever interest rate hike back in 2007, the yen still steadily sliding. So what's happening there?
Well, there are two powerful forces in the forex markets, I'll tell you. So first is interest rates. The second is momentum. And at the moment, both odds are stacked against the yen. So the BOJ has left the short-term rates between 0 and 0.1%. And this is why the carry traders, so those people who are particularly attracted to the low borrowing rates in Japan, tend to bring that money out and invest in the more high-yielding countries, right? So the fundamental rate difference can drive markets. And why is the yen falling? Because people keep selling it. And why are people selling? Because the yen is falling. So it becomes like a vicious cycle, and it becomes like something that of self-fulfilling prophecy in the market right now.
All right, very well said. Thanks very much, Liv, for shedding light for us on those headlines.